Welcome to the February edition of Superintendent's Corner. I'm Dan Raver for Boardman Schools Television Network. I'm joined today by Boardman Schools Superintendent, Mr. Tim Saxon. Welcome, Mr. Saxon.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. It is a good morning. So can you tell us a little bit about the governor's biennium budget for education, kind of like how that affects Boardman?
Sure. Every 2 years, the governor obviously has to give his proposed budget for the state of Ohio. It has many different factors, but the one that's near and dear to our heart is always the education piece. When it first comes out, there's always a lot of fanfare, a lot of media on it, but I want the public to remember that it has to go through the House and be reworked, has to go through the Senate, be reworked, go back to the governor. There's a whole process.
Yeah, it has to be approved through a lot of committees.
Yeah, there's a whole political process. So it's early, but just some of the information out there. Some schools are getting more, some schools are getting less. What's Boardman getting? That's probably what's near and dear to our heart. And if you look at, we're one of the few school districts in Mahoning County that's showing additional funds, which is a good thing. We will take that, but I just want to make sure there's a clear picture that we are getting additional funds, roughly about an extra $400,000 to $500,000 per year. That sounds really good, but when you look at the full picture, there's some other factors in play. Boardman's very blessed with a heavy service community, and we have a lot of stores, a lot of restaurants, car dealerships, and we were always benefactors of tangible personal property tax. The governor has phased that out. There's been a held harmless reimbursement that they have phased out over the years.
Okay.
So, quick summary, we're going to see an additional $400,000 to $500,000 if it all works out the way he's initially proposed it, but we're also being phased out about a $400,000 to $500,000.
Because we're not getting
so it is pretty flat. That's not superintendent talk. I mean, that's there's facts that back that up. We're not losing. We're pretty flat. So it's good and bad. They are making sure that we get more state funding because we're losing some through a different revenue source, different revenue stream. So we will maintain a flat. That's as initially proposed. Who knows what's going to happen down the road? But as of right now, we stay pretty flat, which we can live with. We'd rather see a positive.
It's better to stay flat than go up.
Yeah, right. We
don't no one wants to see funds leaving.
No. So we'll take neutral. But we like to see a positive. So we'll continue to update the community, continue to keep an eye on it.
All right, sounds good. Can you tell us a little bit about the upcoming calendar for the 2017-2018 school year?
Sure. That's always, people want to know a couple things. When does school start? That's usually when the parents, the kids want to know that too, but parents especially. The kids really want to know when does school end.
Yeah.
And in between there, they like to know when are our breaks. So August 28th is when we'll start. That's about the same time frame we started this year. That's that week before.
Yeah, a little bit earlier.
Yeah, that's it. That week before Labor Day. So that's been very similar to the last couple of years. We end on June 5th. Commencement's June 3rd. That's another thing. So,
everything's moving back a little bit.
Yeah, we're right. Kind of the same time frame. If you just move it forward 1 year. A lot of especially your parents of the current juniors who are going to be seniors next year, they want to know when's commencement.
Yeah, that's a big topic.
They're planning events.
Graduation
parties, right? So they really want to. So June 3rd is commencement. Last day of school for Christmas break there is December 21st. We'll be off on the 22nd, returning on January 2nd, and then we go back to what I call a traditional spring break. Our last day will be Thursday, and then we're off on what's considered Good Friday. Then we have Easter. We have the week after Easter off, and then we're back that following Monday.
Nice
so
break.
This year our break's actually before Easter. Just a little bit different the way things worked out, but we go back to what I call a traditional spring break schedule.
All right. It's good to know that we have everything kind of planned out, or at least a general idea of what's going to happen.
Yeah, just again, people are always making plans. It's always good to let them know ahead of time.
Yeah, planning is always a good thing. Could you also tell us a little bit about the app, Here Comes the Bus, and what's happening with that?
Yeah, I believe the last time we were on was right before the official launch, so we were talking to our viewers about it. We did a major launch. It got some nice print media and also on the different local news stations about it. Checked this morning. We have 933 parents actively using Here Comes the Bus, and we are tracking about 1,400 bus riders,
Okay.
which is a little over half of our student ridership. So our parents are very actively engaged. We had to do some data tweaks on a few parents. We have a few routes that were hand created that we're still working to get into our computer system. But again, really good numbers. We're excited about that.
Okay.
Hope it continues to grow.
So is this the trial stage still, or are we?
Oh no,
that?
we're full implementation.
Okay,
yeah,
full-
we're full
full out.
implementation. If any parent out there is still interested, obviously download the app. Whether they have an iPhone or Android from the appropriate app store, whether it's from Google or from iTunes. There's great directions on our website. If you go to our website, you can download the directions. It walks you right through getting your account set up. And if anyone has any trouble, there's an email help hotline. Send an email. We got about 3-4 different school officials that monitor it. We make sure the right person gets it and address their problem in a timely
Hopefully
manner.
quick responses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try to do our best we can.
All right. And winter Spartan success is a great topic for right now with everything. You got like the orchestra and Quiz Bowl and all the athletic events.
And we're over for 40-some straight consecutive years of a superior rating for our orchestra. I mean, it's the longest streak in Ohio. It's just tremendous. You want to talk about tradition. You want to talk about programs that don't rebuild, they just reload. All those common sports analogies. You can apply that to our music program in many areas. But the latest one, obviously, is the orchestra. Academic-wise, the Quiz Bowl team, 3rd year in a row, won the county title down at Youngstown State University. Looking forward to state competition and possibly national competition. They just
Nationals for Quiz Bowl.
Yeah, that's just fantastic. What a great group. They also same thing, doing a very nice job, very successful program.
The JV even plays second in districts too.
Yeah. So that's a good sign.
Yeah.
It means the program's going to continue to build itself. In the sports realm, we've talked on the show a couple times now just about our great winter sports success. We're wrapping up winter sports. Mm-hmm. Just taking a look at some of the things that happen in swimming. I mean, there's multiple award winners there. We had a young man place 3rd in state. We had a relay place 8th, but they broke a school record. Girls basketball made it to district semifinals. Had a tough loss earlier this week, but still just a tremendous
They made it there.
season.
That's what really matters.
Yeah. That's a good place to be. A lot of schools a lot of basketball teams are sitting at home watching. Our girls were still playing. Districts for wrestling, we had 4 wrestlers qualify for districts. We had a young man, Carlo De Niro. He qualified, or he set the school record in pins. We've had some great wrestlers in the history of Boardman wrestling. For him to do that, to break that record, he got a little bit of a late start because of some injuries, and
even after injuries, he still managed to get it.
It wasn't like he started doing this in his freshman year. He got a late start. That's what's even more amazing about it. Not only did he break the record with the traditional wrestlers we have, but he did it in a shorter time frame than most people have set the previous records in. So that's just tremendous accomplishment.
It's a lot of hard work on his part.
Yeah. Coach Mancini, outstanding wrestler for Boardman back in his younger days, outstanding coach for us. He's got a great program going there. Boys basketball, 18-win season, first time in 30 years.
So nice.
Yeah. So it's, Boardman had just some outstanding teams in the 70s and the 80s, and I know many people go to the game still remember those days and want them back. I'm one of them. And it's just so great to watch. They were fun to watch. They were exciting. They played hard. They played well together, and they start their district competition this coming Saturday. So we're looking forward to see how far they can go. I'd like to see them make it all the way down to Columbus, but
we're all hoping for that.
Yeah, take it one game at a time. So all kinds of great bowling, boys bowling. Don't want to forget boys bowling made it to state qualifiers, so they'll be headed down to Columbus soon here.
I know in indoor track, which is a club sport, we had I think 3 or 4 individuals who qualified for state indoor meet. So
everything's just it's just
a great season.
It was a really good winter season. It's a great time to be a Spartan.
Definitely makes you look forward to spring and what's going to happen with that.
Absolutely, especially with this weather.
Yeah. All right. Could you tell us a little bit about a more kind of sadder topic about the stadium being taken down?
Yeah, it's kind of like that one Oreo dish. It's sweet and sour.
Bittersweet.
So it's a little bit of both. Obviously, there's a ton of history there and tradition at that stadium. But tradition sometimes tradition is in people, is in programs. So it's good to see that tradition move over to the new facility. The old stadium will still be having different events there. Lacrosse will still play there, and we'll have some middle school football games there. But the visitor side and the home side with the wings, the bleacher, the wooden part of the stands, was really becoming an eyesore. And we've actually had those sections closed down for over a year, not used for visitor or fans seating.
Just unsafe in a little bit.
Yeah. We've been testing those every year to make sure that they're safe, replacing boards. We have not done that because we don't have the crowds at the old stadium for lacrosse or for middle school football. Obviously the crowds are at the new stadium, so we were able to, capacity-wise, close those sections down. With the land swap with the township, we had, as we mentioned before in the show, we had a price differential, so we started receiving some of the payments for that price differential. We took some of that money and we invested into removing some of the old bleachers that we weren't using that were starting to become an eyesore. Yeah. If you look at it, I mean, it's a busy intersection on Market Street across from the mall at Market Street and Stadium Drive. That's the center of Boardman, so to speak. Yeah. We want to make sure that it is a site that we're proud of, and those bleachers are getting to the point that something that we're not so.
It was a little bit iffy,
right? So we tore them down. If you look at it, looks great. What a difference! It changes the landscape. We have an outer fence there that's in that same situation. The fence needs repaired, needs painted.
A little bit.
That will go down next. So we will leave the inner fence, which is inside the track, up to protect the field, and we need to move the lights. That will be the next phase, and then do some landscaping just to dress up where we
make it all
right.
Yeah.
So
smooth.
The other thing was Township will be breaking ground soon on their fire station, and we would lose the nice easy access to the back of those bleachers when they use some of the bigger machinery to tear down the stand. So we wanted to jump on it now, and the weather was a blessing. So the company jumped in and took care of it and moved pretty quickly on it. So we didn't know. We thought this was probably going to be a spring project, but the weather helped us move it forward. It looks great, and stadium will still be used, and that concrete bleacher section is the section we will use. And that really, when you think of the old stadium, you think of those concrete bleachers, you think of that press box. That will still be there. The main part
of the stadium is still there.
Yeah, so we're still keeping some of the old and keeping some of the memories and that tradition alive, but still balancing with a good look and being respectful to our community.
Yeah, as long as it looks nice. I mean, it's kind of sad that it has to do this, but. Right. It's definitely helping us move forward into better memories at the new stadium.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a combination. That's the sweet and sour.
Sweet and sour. And we also have another big thing this year, which is the 100th year celebration of the graduating class of 2017.
Yeah, as we talked about before, that we're going to enter a year of 100 years of Boardman graduates, and that starts with this graduating class of 2017. Committee's been formed. I know we've talked about this before, but I want to make sure we keep talking about it because it's that important. Yeah. The big event will be coming up in June. We're taking a look at doing in cooperation with the township and the park. They have a community day. We're taking a look at having some special activities. Those are still being finalized, but one of the things that we have penciled in that we're working on the details is a potential movie night on the turf at the stadium. Kids can come, bring a blanket, bring a chair, hang out, watch it on the big screen, and looking forward to hopefully a nice blessing of the weather, but that's one of the events that we have penciled in at that time. And there'll be other events. We're going to spread them out. We're going to have 3 or 4 marquee events throughout the 1 year of the 100-year celebration. We're calling that kind of our family. That's our family event. And we're going to do an athletic event, an academic event, and an arts event, and a family event. So that will be our included. 4 marquee events.
Okay. That's a great way to plan it out. I mean, it is a very significant event for 100 years of Boardman. So
yeah, it'll be a special celebration.
It's good to go all out.
Yep.
Well, thank you for joining us today. Do you have any other comments?
Just like I said, we're coming off an exciting winter. The weather's been a great blessing. The success has been a great blessing. So it's just looking forward to spring. Looking forward to the final third of the school year, and looking forward to that graduating class 2017 and kicking off our 100-year celebration.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time.
Yep.
I'm Dan Raver for BSTN. Tune in next month, and remember, we transform lives through academics, athletics, and the arts. can just start right now. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Dan. Great to be back.
So the February Board of Education meeting took place on the 28th at West Boulevard Elementary. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, we just had our regular board meeting on February the 28th last night. So we're here today to just kind of share what went on at that meeting and let the general public know kind of what business we conducted. All the board members were present at the meeting last night.
Okay. Did anyone from the community address the board at all?
No, this month no one from the community took part in public participation. One thing we did take care of in board members' business is that we set a board workshop for Saturday, March 25th at 8 a.m. in the superintendent's office. One of the topics for that will be, as we get ready for negotiations, will be something we discussed there, but we generally try to do workshops quarterly to talk about more kind of big picture items. So we're looking forward to that, and hopefully it's only 4 or 5 hours.
It's good to know we're planning ahead. All right. We have a few recognitions. We actually recognized the team from Stadium Drive Elementary that was in the Math 24 competition. The Math 24 challenge was held at Campbell Elementary Middle School on January 24th, 2017. A few of the people that were on that team were Mike Demetrios, Abby Mihuk, Ava Freeborough, Sarah Land, Marissa Funk, Ivan Rudiek, Mason Nowrocky, Caitlin Leonard, Marissa Marino, Ava Commons, Costa Cerveca, and Mrs. Jacobs. And we thank these people because they're, they really are good at this because they placed 9 out of 11 students placed with medals, and they moved on to the semifinal round. 3 of those students took 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and they're receiving trophies. So even at the elementary school level, we were having a lot of excellence.
Right, so it was great to have those students there, and Mr. Zuccoli, the new principal at Market Street, at Stadium Drive, was also in attendance. I think a couple of the students were ready to challenge us or Mr. Saxton in 24, so we're really glad to have those students there, and we appreciate their hard work, and we're glad we got the opportunity to recognize them.
Yeah, they did significantly well. We also, I see that we discussed the consent agenda. Would you like to highlight what was discussed in that?
Sure. So a consent agenda is a way for us to group a lot of decisions about or votes of what we may have to do into one vote rather than voting on each piece individually. So if there's a lot of standard business, we'll utilize a consent agenda. So for example, the board has to accept resignations, and we had a couple this month. So we just wanted to highlight that Daniela Davner, who is a records secretary at the high school, is retiring at the end of the year. She did long service to the Boardman schools, and we appreciate her hard work and we wish her the best. And as well, Denise Moore, who was a teacher aide at Center, will also be retiring. So we thank her and we wish them both the best in retirement.
Yeah. Would you actually like to tell us about some leaves of absence?
Sure. So a teacher going on a leave of absence for parental leave is something that occurs from time to time throughout the year. So Lindsay Donadio, who's a 6th grade teacher at Center Intermediate, will be taking a first-year unpaid parental leave of absence from April 4th, 2017 through April 28th, 2017.
Okay. Would you also like to tell us about the recent appointments that we've had?
Sure. So especially as we get into the transition between sports seasons, we'll usually have some coaching hires that need to be made. So we will be bringing on Kara Coupler to be a high school assistant softball coach, and that will be a split supplemental. We've been utilizing the split supplemental a little more so that instead of one person taking the full percentage of the supplemental, 2 people will split it at kind of an equal percentage and I think that allows more teachers to get involved in supplementals, but also kind of provides more mentors and advisors for students for whether it be a sport or a club or things like that.
That's great. The more help we can get, the better.
Exactly.
There's also a lot more that are being on staff supplementals.
So really with supplementals, we can have a couple different combinations. We can have an on-staff supplemental. So that's for someone could be a teacher or an employee of the district. We could also have an off-staff supplemental. That's someone who may not work for the school district, but if there's no one interested in that role in the school district, it can be broadened out in terms of the search. So So especially with spring sports, especially on the, these are typically more assistants. We'll have a variety of off-staff supplementals. One thing to note here is Michael Trell, who's been our head softball coach for a long time, will continue to be our head softball coach. And then the third thing we have is that you can also have on-staff and off-staff volunteer coaches. Volunteer coaches, just what it sounds like. They won't be paid by the school district, but they're willing to volunteer their time to contribute to their respective programs. So especially in baseball and lacrosse, we had some off-staff volunteer coaches that we approved this month. Even though they're volunteer, the school district still has to approve them working with students. They have to follow our normal coaching procedures in terms of any kind of certifications or tests that they may have to do.
It's good that the community is coming together for volunteerism like that. I see we also have appointments in the line elective instructors.
Sure. So, Dan, as you know, education's changing. Online learning is something that can be effective, and that's a tool we have in our toolbox. We have the SAIL program, which is for students looking to complete at the high school, and we also have some online electives. So we appointed Amanda Barrow as a tutor in the SAIL program, and we also appointed a handful of teachers in subjects like music or art appreciation, as well as employability skills, to be online elective instructors for the second semester of this school year. That's a tool we continue to kind of grow and develop and learn how to deliver it better.
That is a really great thing because online technology is just everywhere nowadays, so you kind of have to adapt to the new age. I see the board approved the 2017 summer school program too.
Yes, so every year we offer summer school. I think I took summer school to get some classes out of the way.
Me too.
To allow me to, take some more classes that I wanted during the regular year. So that program's been approved, and I'm sure sign-ups will be busy. I know the physical education course is always a popular one for parents to try to get into. So and we're glad to offer the summer school program to the community. Yeah,
it's definitely good. I mean, especially when kids want to go. I mean, if they want to go outside and learn during the summer, that's a great way to keep your academics going. As is customary of this time of year, you approved a list of certificated and classified substitutes.
Sure. So this is a regular piece of business that we usually have every month. We always have a mix of potential new substitutes that are willing to be part of the district or teach not only at Boardman but other schools throughout the county. So we as a board have to approve all of those before they can teach within the building. So usually every month we'll have a handful of new names that to be approved.
Okay. Let's go to treasurer's business with Yeoman, or Mrs. Kimberly Yeoman. It said Yeoman. I was like, oh no, that's not good. All right.
So just say Mrs. Kimberly Yeoman. Would you want Kim or Kimberly?
Usually, I think Kim is fine.
I think
so.
Okay. Let's go to treasurer's business with Mrs. Kimberly Yeoman.
So sure. So we're very thankful to have Kim Yeoman back in the district as an interim treasurer as we start our search for a new full-time treasurer. So just a couple things to highlight under treasurer's business is that the board has to approve any transfer of funds between different accounts. So we approved a transfer of $28,750 from our general fund to our permanent improvement fund. Why we want to highlight this is that this is part of the payment from the township in terms of the broader land swap that we're doing to allow the district to obtain a new bus garage and some former township property and the township being able to build a new fire station on the corner of Market Street and Stadium Drive. So we use part of those funds, as you've seen if you've been driving down Market Street, that the visitor stands and some of the older stands at the old stadium have been taken down. So we use some of that money to help pay for that. And so it definitely looks a little different driving by, but we're looking forward and are grateful to be working with the township and to have the opportunity to build a new fire station in the center of Boardman is a great thing for the community as a whole.
Yeah, I know. The fire station, I've talked about it a lot with other segments, is that it can actually reduce response times, which is beneficial to the community.
Yep. And I think anything we can do to keep our community safer is a great thing.
Would you also tell us a little bit about the donations we received this month?
Sure. So we had a great month in terms of donations. We received $7,430 from the Community Foundation of the Mahoning Valley. This donation will be used for the Boardman Schools Fund for Educational Excellence to fund some teacher grants. I know that they also have a big event, I believe, on Friday, March 10th. So I know I bought my ticket. Dan, did you get yours?
I wish I did.
So we also had some donations from Bill's Lawn Care and Landscape of $150. That will be used for the SHIELD program. SHIELD program is part of the positive behavior program that we've been trying to utilize throughout K through 12. We also had $750 donated from the Boardman Poland Junior Women's League. This was donated into the Boardman Glenwood Junior High Pupil Support Fund to sponsor some students' trips to Washington, D.C. Also, Glenwood had, from two different places, a total of $300 in donations to the Boardman Glenwood Makers account, which is really a new great club and concept that Tim Harker and some others are utilizing at Glenwood. Those were from the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 66, and from the Boardman FOP. We also had $2,500 from Ron Gallo of the Arby's Foundation. That went to Stadium Drive. If you remember when the new Arby's opened, they sponsored, I think that some percentage of any purchase of a kid's meal at that Arby's was donated to Stadium Drive. So we're very grateful to have that kind of corporate school partnership, and thankful to Arby's. We also had $2,310 from Master Justin Taylor Junior Taekwondo School. That will be used in the Pupil Support Fund at Stadium Drive. And then we also had to our Food Services Department $300 from an anonymous donor that will be split in between West Boulevard Elementary and Market Street Elementary Food Services. That donation will help defray the debt incurred at each school for any student that may have outstanding balances on their lunch accounts. So we're very thankful to those community individuals and businesses that have provided donations to the school district across many different things. So they'll receive a certificate from the board thanking them for their contribution.
Yeah, we're definitely thankful for all the money we can get from the community. Let's go to the superintendent business with Mr. Tim Saxton. What was covered this month with that?
Sure. So probably one of the first things we did is approval of the 2017-2018 school calendar. If you remember in January, we talked about this a little as well. With it being a new school calendar, you have to give it 2 reads, especially as school districts are transitioning from the days concept to the hours concept, which we're doing this year. So we did what we call a first read in January and a second read in February and approved it. Pretty traditional in terms of our school district's calendar. One thing we did do is we tried to align conference nights a little better. In terms of when they fall during the 9 weeks in the semesters. I think that means that I think the fall one got pushed up a bit, and then the spring one I think is a little later, because the spring one is traditionally very early in that 9 weeks, and we try to make it more in the middle to have it be a little more effective and hopefully get more parents and teachers involved. So we'll give that a try next year, and then as always kind of evaluate our what we learned from it and see if we have to tweak again. Okay. We also approved Right to Read Week resolution. That will be in early May, and I'm sure we'll have more details in upcoming months. It's really a great opportunity to go out to the elementary schools and read. Dan, if you have some time, I definitely recommend that you go. It's really fun to interact with the elementary school students, and they really get a kick out of it.
Yeah, I remember doing that when I was a younger kid, and that definitely helped me to kind of like to read a little bit more than I usually did.
Good. So we also approved some E-rate consultation services. So as you know, we have a lot of change this year. We have a new superintendent, and when Mr. Saxton moved into that role, we appointed a new director of operations, Mr. Jack Zocalo. So part of that role is to handle something called E-rate. E-rate is a program that helps public school districts get reimbursements or refunds for significant technology purchases. Could be used for things like network upgrades, like better wireless in the school building, or better infrastructure for how we connect to the internet. So it allows us to get a good chunk of that money back, but it is a complicated program. So with some new people and some new roles this year, we're taking some time and spending some money to bring in a consulting service in Mr. Zocalo's first year to help with that process, to make sure that he's prepared, and then we'll kind of evaluate year to year if we can handle that then internally, or if we potentially bring in this consulting company again.
Yeah, if it goes smoothly the first year, then hopefully it just transfers over.
Right. So it's and that's a big part of what we do. Change is constant anymore. So some years you have some changes, and you kind of bring in some new people to help, and you allow them to grow in their role, and then year 2 or 3 you see those improvements and can handle a lot more of those things than you could day 1 on the job, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So for the elementary handbook, this is a standard thing we do every year. We have one elementary handbook across all 4 of our elementary buildings, so we have to approve it. So it was approved. We have some minor kind of formatting tweaks to make, but that should be out and published and available in our elementary schools, as well as hopefully online in the near future as well. Okay. And then lastly, we had the bus purchase. So in the January board meeting, we talked about approving to go out to bid for the purchase and or lease of some new buses for our bus fleet. So we probably have in the low 50 number of buses within our district, but our bus fleet is aging. So most buses you could probably get close to 15 years around. We hope at least for 10 to 15. So
you need to replace them and make sure safety's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we sent this out to bid, and a company, Cardinal Bus Sales and Service of Lyman, Ohio, had the best bid for us to purchase 10 buses. We are going to purchase, of those 10, we will purchase 2, and we will lease to purchase 8. So that will allow us to replace a good chunk of our fleet, but it will allow us to do it in a way that stays within our current budgetary number for what we have for bus replacement.
Yeah, it'll keep it financially stable.
Right. So that's a great way to be able to have some predictability within your budget, but also make sure that we're keeping our students safe and we have strong buses that
keeping everything updated.
Yep. So.
Okay. Please check out our Boardman Schools calendar for any upcoming events in the community. Is there anything you'd like to discuss with the rest of this?
So in terms of reports, Mr. Saxton just provided some new and revised board policies. Like we talked about for the first or second read, policies also have to go through 2 reads. So this month we had the first read of some policies. Usually policies can be changed for things like updated language from the Ohio School Boards Association or changes in state or federal laws. Most of these changes didn't really change the way the Boardman schools did anything. It was just updates that we were kind of requested or required to make from the Ohio Department of Education. I think those covered things like graduation requirements was one example. We didn't change our graduation requirements, but Ohio Department of Education wanted some changes in how they were referred to within the document. Yes. So we'll likely vote on those in our March board meeting.
Okay. Are there any more final comments you'd like to add?
Sure. I think, Dan, as a senior, I think we had a really great weekend across the school district. Our orchestra got I think the 44th consecutive superior rating in a row at state competition. Our swimmers had a great performance at the state meet. I know Callan got 3rd and 7th in his individual events, as well as our relay getting 8th. I think all those students qualified for all Ohio honors. We had 4 students, I think, move on to wrestling districts, I believe. And I think Carlo De Niro broke the all-time record for pins by a high school wrestler, which is really awesome.
Yeah,
that's not a record you'll often break. Our boys bowling team qualified for state and will be competing, I think, 2 weeks down the road. Our girls basketball team had a great win over Fitch last week, and then unfortunately lost last weekend, but they really had a great season, and our girls team should be proud. I think we're all looking forward to rooting for the boys team on Saturday in their first tournament game. And then our quiz bowl team, which is important to me because I did quiz bowl, won its 3rd straight county championship tournament at YSU on Saturday, and I think our JV team got 2nd. So really a great weekend across academics, arts, and the athletics, which is really what we strive for across the Boardman schools. So really just congratulations to our students. I mean, our students amaze us every day, and we're lucky to have all of them. So
yeah, winter is just a great time for us right now. Yep. Hopefully it continues into the spring.
So great.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us today, Mr. Landers.
Thank you, Dan. It's
always a pleasure. Congratulations again to students from Stadium Drive Elementary in the Math 24 Challenge. Check out our Boardman Schools website for further details on upcoming events. A reminder that our March Board of Education meeting will be held at Market Street Elementary. This is Dan Raver for BSTN. Let's keep striving for excellence.